Taikiki the elephant. On August 20, 1994, Taikiki, a 20-year-old African elephant, was performing at Circus International in Honolulu's Neil Blazettel Center. The 8,400-pound elephant had displayed erratic behavior with activists documenting stress signs. A year earlier in Altoona, Pennsylvania, Taik had injured a groomer and attacked a trainer, but the circus continued using her. On this humid Saturday, approximately 4,000 spectators gathered for the matinee, many children seated near the ring. Taik was performing under trainer Alan Campbell's direction when something triggered her aggression. Without warning, she turned on Campbell, grabbing him with her trunk and throwing him down. The audience thought it was part of the show until they heard screams. Taik trampled Campbell repeatedly while he crawled away, crushing his ribs. Groomer Dallas Beckwith rushed to help, but Taik immediately turned on him, trampling him as well. The audience erupted in panic as parents grabbed children and fled. Taik broke through barriers and charged into the seating area, scattering terrified spectators. She burst through the main entrance onto Honolulu streets, creating chaos as cars swerved and pedestrians ran. For over 30 minutes, she wandered downtown while police tried to contain her. Multiple tranquilizer attempts failed. As Taik grew more agitated, police used lethal force, firing approximately 86 rounds before she collapsed on Kolakaua Avenue. Campbell died from his injuries while Beckwith survived but suffered serious injuries. Tragedies. Tragedy. On June 29, 2013, French aerialist Sarah Gallard-Guillot was performing in Chair-Ducal SCA at the MGM Grand when her routine went wrong. The 31-year-old mother had been with Chair Dussel since 2006, specializing in aerial silk performances. K was one of their most complex productions, featuring elaborate stage machinery and aerial choreography. The signature piece involved a massive rotating platform that tilted while performers enacted battle scenes. On this Saturday evening, over 1,800 spectators packed the theater. The show ran smoothly through its first act. Gallard-Guillot had completed earlier sequences without incident and was preparing for her final routine. As the second act began, she was positioned high above the stage on aerial silks, preparing to descend as part of the climactic sequence. The routine required her to drop rapidly while controlling her descent. Timing movements with the rotating stage below. Something went wrong during this descent. Instead of the controlled drop audiences had seen previously, Gallard-Guillot fell freely from approximately 94 feet. A wire rope had jumped the sheave and was severed, leaving her with no protection. She struck the edge of the moving platform with tremendous force before falling into the orchestra pit. The impact echoed throughout the theater. The show stopped immediately as crew members rushed to assist while medical personnel was summoned. She was pronounced dead that night from her injuries. Nevada USHA found multiple safety violations. Wenda Pyramid Tragedy. On January 30, 1962, the Flying Wenders were performing their signature 7-person pyramid act at Detroit's State Fair Coliseum. The world's most famous high-wire family had performed death-dealing stunts for generations. Their most spectacular act involved 7 members arranged in a 3-level pyramid while crossing a high wire without safety nets, requiring absolute precision. Carl Wenda had developed this routine over years with each member trained from childhood. On this winter evening, over 7,000 spectators packed the Coliseum to witness one of the most dangerous circus acts ever performed. The Wenders performed without nets, believing they made acts less authentic. The family took positions on the wire at approximately 35 feet above the floor. The complex formation included multiple members at different levels with the bottom tiers supporting those above. As the human pyramid began crossing the wire, something went wrong with the formation's balance. One performer in front began to wobble and lose footing. His loss of balance created a chain reaction that destabilized the entire structure as the interconnected nature meant one mistake affected everyone. Within seconds, the formation collapsed, sending all 7 performers plummeting toward the concrete floor. The impact was devastating, with multiple members striking the surface with tremendous force. Richard Fawn and Dear Shep died from their injuries while Mario Wenda was paralyzed from the waist down. The other members survived but sustained serious injuries. The tragedy marked the end of the Wendy's Pyramid Act. Lion Tamer Tragedy. On January 3, 1872, Thomas McCarty, performing as MSRD, was working as a lion tamer with Pablo Fanks, Circus Royal in Bolton, England. McCarty was one of the featured animal trainers, specializing in working with large cats when safety protocols were primitive. Wild animal acts were popular in Victorian England, drawing crowds eager to see humans demonstrate mastery over predators. However, training methods were harsh and safety measures inadequate. Pablo Fanks' Circus Royal was one of England's most successful traveling circuses, and McCart's Lion Act was a primary attraction. The performance involved the trainer entering a cage with multiple lions, putting them through routines to demonstrate obedience and the trainer's courage. On this cold January evening in Bolton, hundreds of spectators gathered for the circus performance, including McCart's Lion Act. The show proceeded normally until McCarty entered the lion cage for his featured performance. Something went wrong during the routine that proved fatal. Whether due to miscalculation, aggressive animal behavior, or the unpredictable nature of working with wild predators, the situation turned deadly. One or more lions attacked McCarty while he performed his routine, overpowering him before other personnel could intervene. Despite immediate efforts to drive the animals away and provide medical assistance, McCarty sustained fatal injuries. The attack highlighted extreme dangers faced by animal trainers when safety equipment and emergency protocols were underdeveloped. His death became one of the documented cases that eventually led to improved safety measures for circus animal acts. Carl Wender tragedy. On March 22, 1978, Carl Wender, the 73-year-old Flying Wender's patriarch, was attempting a high-wire walk between two hotel towers in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Despite his age, Wender remained determined to continue performing death-dealing stunts that made his family internationally famous. This walk was intended to span 750 feet between Condado Plaza Hotel towers at 121 feet above the street with no safety net. Wender had planned this stunt for months to maintain his reputation as the world's greatest high-wire performer. Even at 73, he practiced daily and performed regularly, refusing to retire despite family concerns about age and increasing risks. The San Juan walk was being filmed for television and attracted significant Caribbean media attention. Weather conditions included wind that would prove problematic for such a dangerous performance. However, Wender had performed in challenging weather before and was confident in his ability to adapt his technique. As hundreds of spectators gathered below and television cameras recorded, Wender began his walk from one hotel tower. He carried his traditional 30-foot balancing pole, moving with steady steps that characterized his decades of performances. The first portion proceeded normally with Wender maintaining balance despite challenging conditions. However, as he approached the midpoint, wind conditions created difficulties that even his extensive experience couldn't overcome. The combination of gusty winds and his wire position made maintaining balance impossible. Despite decades of experience and attempts to recover using his pole, Wender began wobbling uncontrollably. Within moments, he lost his grip and fell 121 feet to the pavement below. The fall was instantly fatal, bringing a tragic end to the career of one of the most legendary high-wire performers in circus history. Italian tiger tragedy. On July 4, 2019, Itaber was working as a tiger trainer with Marina Ciro or near Bari, Italy. The 61-year-old experienced trainer had spent decades working with big cats, developing expertise in managing dangerous animals in circus entertainment. Ciro Orf was one of Italy's most established circus companies with a multi-generational history. The circus was known throughout Europe for maintaining traditional values while ensuring animal acts met contemporary safety standards. Viber's role involved training and performing with tigers, work requiring exceptional skill and constant vigilance due to predators' unpredictable nature. On this summer day near Bari, Weber was conducting a training session with his tigers preparing for upcoming performances. Training sessions were held away from public view, allowing trainers to work with animals in controlled environments focused on conditioning without audience distractions. These sessions were routine but dangerous, involving the same close contact with powerful predators that made public performances risky. The specific circumstances of what went wrong highlight inherent dangers of working with wild animals, even for experienced professionals. Whether due to miscommunication between trainer and animal, unexpected triggers causing aggressive behavior, or simply unpredictable predator nature, the situation turned deadly without warning. Weber was attacked by his own tigers during the training session, suffering immediately fatal injuries, despite other circus personnel attempting to intervene. The attack was too severe and happened too quickly for effective rescue. The incident shocked the circus community and animal welfare advocates, highlighting ongoing risks faced by those working closely with wild animals in entertainment settings. Wender Swaypole incident. In 1963, Henrietta Yetta Groden was performing with a traveling circus in Omaha, Nebraska. Grotfont was a member of the extended Wender family, working as Carl Wender's sister-in-law and an experienced aerial performer. She specialized in swaypole performances, a demanding aerial act requiring performers to climb a tall, flexible pole and execute acrobatics while the pole swayed dramatically. The swaypole act was one of the more dangerous aerial performances, combining risks of significant heights with the challenge of performing on an unstable moving apparatus. Unlike other aerial acts using safety nets, sway pole performances relied solely on performers' skill and experience. The pole's flexibility, which created dramatic swaying motion, making the act spectacular, also made it unpredictable and difficult to control during complex maneuvers. On the evening of her final performance in Omaha, Groton was executing her sway pole routine in front of several hundred spectators. The performance proceeded normally through early portions with Groton demonstrating skill and grace that made her a respected performer within the circus community. However, during her routine, something went catastrophically wrong. She fell from the sway pole at approximately 50 feet with no safety equipment to break her fall. The fall proved immediately fatal as the height and impact force caused incompatible injuries. Emergency medical personnel were summoned, but nothing could save her life. Circus Kenai incident. On June 19, 1984, Circus Kai, Switzerland's national circus, was conducting morning training activities in Bastian, Austria, when tragedy struck during routine animal care. The renowned company, entertaining European audiences since 1919, was known continent-wide for high production values and extensive animal menageries. Circus Kane maintained one of Europe's most impressive exotic animal collections, including elephants, featured prominently in performances and synonymous with the circus identity. On this summer morning in the Austrian resort town, circus personnel conducted routine training and care activities with animals preparing for that evening's performance. These behind-the-scenes activities were essential for maintaining animal conditioning and ensuring they remained responsive to handlers during public performances. However, working closely with large, powerful animals always carried inherent risks, even during routine daily activities. The tragedy involved Madura, one of the circus's elephants, and her keeper during what should have been routine training. The specific circumstances triggering the deadly incident remain unclear, but the elephant suddenly became aggressive toward her handler without apparent warning. Whether due to stress, illness, confusion, or unpredictable behavior occurring with wild animals in captivity, Madura attacked and killed her keeper during the training session. The attack happened quickly with such force that other circus personnel could intervene effectively to save the keeper's life. The incident shocked the circus community in Bad Gasteins' local population, as Circus Kane had built its reputation over decades on professional animal handling. Following the keeper's death, local authorities decided the elephant had to be put down, and Madura was shot 2 days after the fatal attack. If you'd like to see more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and feel free to drop suggestions for the next video in the comments.